Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy Plays here, and we are at a nice 2:20 a.m. recording session today. It was really warm and really humid, so I am going to try and be quiet because I do have a roommate, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about some heavy tank gameplay. Now, I find that I don't play heavy tanks all that often. They're the slow. Generally, they're one of the slower roles you can play, and that makes you a little less flexible. But you still being the huge wall of armor, you have a huge influence on the game. You can push certain positions or hold certain positions, and your armor allows for just the strength to do that. You can block bullets, stuff like that. So what's important with this game is we're gonna lose. Spoilers right off the bat. But if you're looking at our deployment here, let me go ahead. If you're looking, I'm a heavy tank. We have this triangle here means they're a tank destroyer, so they have a big gun. And we have an artillery. Everybody else is going to this side of the map here, and I'm going here. Now you're going to see us talking in chat, and basically we're all discussing about how this deployment was bad, but we still continue to do it. Nobody decides to swing around. We're going to have a few people go this way, and they're going to try and cross over here. That'll play some effect in this game, but realistically it's just me and this WZ-120 and the M44. So I actually take a quick second to type something out. I try to be a bit of a comedian here. I'm also keeping an eye on the map as well before I actually push on, because you don't want to hold a position that you don't think is going to be good for the team. If you just die, then you have no influence in the game, right? And being a heavy tank, you want to have that influence. And how you contribute that is staying alive and being armor for your team. So at this point, usually the heavies will take this side of the map because they have these nice rocks right here where they can hide behind and they can use to protect themselves from the artillery, because the artillery is going to be shelling at them, being their slow, heavy, big targets. Artillery loves that. So basically all I'm doing is just looking, taking some shots. Now that was a good shot because we had tracked them, and I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't it have been great if I had tracked him, kept him stuck there, and I had more people behind me to shoot. Now we do have the WZ, and he's definitely trying his best to help out here, but it would have been really cool to have nailed that tracking shot and had more come out of it. And you'll hear me do that clicking. I've been using the clicking to be a little bit more accurate with my shots. I'll click and then release and then aim my shot, so that way the game does all the work for putting the gun as close to the tank as possible, and then I just do the thinking part and I aim for the weak spots. And you'll see that in that 45 TP I tracked him. I hit his tracks twice before they could be repaired, and that way the WZ was able to get shots in as well. And that was really important, because every time you eliminate a gun is another, not only is it good for you so that you live, but it's good for the team as well. And that's what you kind of have to think about in these engagements, especially with heavies. You have to think about how many guns are firing at you, because your armor is going to work, but you can't always guarantee it. Usually heavies have some built-in weaknesses to keep them from being too powerful, and if you have too many guns, it's going to be hard to protect yourself from those weaknesses. And what you're going to see here is this tank here, this 1850A, AT-15A, and it's going to have a little buddy. I believe it's the AT-8 in this tier. Now I'm just trying to shoot this cupola. That's what that little commander's hatch is right there. And that's a weak spot, like I said. So that tank is like me. It's got a lot of armor, even though it is a tank destroyer. It's designed to push forwards and not care about bullets. Now this tank here got a little gutsy, went ahead and took a shot. but we're not going to let that stand. Now, at this point, it's 3-on-1, and I'm not liking the odds. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to keep them all off me as much as possible. But unfortunately, this AT-15A keeps pushing me. So we're going to fall back. Actually, I'm going to bait him here. We're going to fall back because we don't want to have to deal with all the guns at once. So I'm pulling away. Now it's just one gun. And you're going to see, watch this. Tracked him. He has a fixed turret, so he actually can't hit me right now, and my goal is to keep him tracked. But unfortunately, I miss this shot. I damage him, which is good, but I really wanted him to stay tracked so he'd stop firing at me. But it's okay. The armor holds up. We blocked that shot. Didn't get the track there, and see, he got me again. So I have armor, but it's not perfect, and most tanks aren't going to be perfect in that unless they're actually overpowered. So alright, so I'm just trying to slip off this tank really quick. Now, again, I'm still trying to keep guns away from me, so I pull away from him because I know I'm more maneuverable than him. And I'm going to pull over here and take out this AT-8. But unfortunately, I hit the front, and it's built the same way, where the front is where you don't want to shoot. So I was shooting towards the top there, but if you look here, this whole time I was looking at the minimap while we were engaging. I don't know if I kind of want to express how, like, I was focused on this whole thing, right? But I didn't have the tunnel vision, and maybe you were focusing on me talking, you were probably focusing on the tanks here. But if you look at the minimap, and I'm also going to flip around from some other tanks here in a moment. If you look, we have people sitting in their base, so they're taking capture right now. And there's more than one way to win in World of Tanks, depending on what map you get. There are different game modes you can have. And this one's just capture the flag, essentially. So you go to your enemy base and you can sit in there. That's not how you always want to win. It's pretty, it gives away your position. But in this case, with the way we deployed, they were able to all take all of this, and we take the victory. Very cool. So holding out those two tanks helped lead us to victory there. And we're going to go ahead and load into another heavy tank game. This one was with the captured Tiger, technically a Tiger 2, and we're going to go into an IS-2S. Okay, so here is our next mission. Alright, so I'm just spawning in, and one thing you'll notice, you may have noticed in that last game, and in this game, I kind of wiggle the mouse around a lot, and I'm sorry if that gives you a little bit of vertigo or anything. The reason why I do it is I'm trying to pay attention to what kind of tanks I'm with, and I can look up here. But this is just a list, and sometimes it's hard to remember all the names and the different types. So having a visual way to see all the tanks, it's very important to me. So that's all I'm really doing here. Now we're taking the IS-2S. Now this is another heavy tank. The cool thing with this one is it's got this, the 2S stands for, it's the IS-2 version 2 shielded. So it's got these little mesh pieces right here, and that is spaced armor. So it's designed to, if a shell is designed to explode, it'll actually hit that mesh and explode before it hits my tank. So that's the whole point of it. It doesn't work perfectly because you don't have shielding everywhere in the tank, but it's just a little extra something to help you stay alive in these engagements. So as a light tank player, I know how important it is how a few extra shots when heavy tanks are deploying onto the map can really swing an engagement. So what I'm doing here is I get out of my way really quick because I already pinged on the map that I was going to go here to G1, but I just wanted to see if there's anything I could use, shoot my gun really quick and lay down some, early game fire. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. It doesn't always. They deployed pretty smart in that case, and they weren't in front of my gun, so. Okay, so this one's a little different. We actually have some backup here. We've got some artillery here, and we've got a heavy tank with us. And so I'm just flicking back and forth, just trying to understand what's going on before I start this engagement. And you're going to see me use this hill, and I think I use this hill pretty darn well. So again, I'm trying to go for that early damage. Now the Scorp does hit me here, but he hits me for 240, and I hit that VK for 400, so that's a pretty good trade. You don't want to do that too often because your hit points are very valuable. But you see here, I'm aiming in, there's the King Tiger. And what I'm doing is I'm actually pulling back from this hill here, and I'm closing the angle of which his gun can actually hit me, or at least reducing it to a point where it's too small of a target for him. So during this whole engagement, I'm going to use this hill to kind of prevent the tanks, and I single them out one-on-one while I brawl them. So the King Tiger keeps exposing his side, which I highly don't recommend because that side is pretty soft. The sides of tanks aren't the thickest, it's usually the front. And so you usually want to side scrape, which presents an angle for the side and increases the effective rate. Now that's important too. Really quick, I know we're pelting that KV3, but that King Tiger, not only was he exposing his side a lot, but he decided to poke out while the KV3 was pushing, which is normally pretty good, but he was in one-shot territory. So in this instance, I decided to prioritize taking out one gun and bringing it on to a 1v1, because if I had left him, even though he had like a little bit of health and I shouldn't really be all that concerned, a 2v1 is much worse than a 1v1. So the KV3 is pushing, but there's a dead tank in front of me. That poor T-34 got knocked out, so his body is actually helping me, and I take out the first big threat. Now it's just me and this KV3, and I still have a lot of hit points. The KV3 has a few too, but I have artillery, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna aim for some hopefully weak spots here. Oh, that one was a little off. Not every shot's gonna be perfect. And then we see this VK, and I'm thinking, oh, that VK I can shoot and one-shot it, because this tank does 400 damage per shot, which is pretty high for its tier. It's pretty good. And now both tanks are one-shottable to me, so I'm just gonna shoot at the easy target. Who's gonna provide that for me? Come on. Oh, that's not a good shot. Oh, it's okay. He rocked back and forth. That was really good. And then you'll see heavies tend to do that. They'll rock back and forth, make it kind of hard to hit their weak spots. It's a very important tactic. But they're both, unfortunately, getting pelted by artillery. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up really quick. Don't want to leave any loose ends. Nice. So we've already cleaned 2 kills. We've done over 2,300 damage. And look at the Scorp. He's Russian. Nope. I'm the Russian, actually. You're going to be dead. Yeah, so the IS-2S is a Russian tank. And unfortunately, it has that thing with the bad gun depression like we talked about in the earlier light tank game. So I actually had to... I couldn't poke over the hill. I had to bring them in to me. I had to look like I was weak and have them fight on my terms. Now that other tank, the Tiger 2, that actually has some decent gun depression, and it can work ridge lines a little bit better than this tank. But these flat ground where I'm brawling is definitely where this tank shines. And unfortunately, it gets a little boring now. We've got our 3 kills. We've done really well. We've held our side, and nothing too crazy has happened over here. It's been going pretty slow, but one thing I noticed is our light tank is pushing up here, so they're going to spot a bunch of things for me because their green circle is way bigger than mine. And look at that, there's an M12. Perfect. Something to shoot at. So I'm going to start moving in. Heavy tanks are pretty slow, so we got to wait our time. Oh, bummer, the team took it out. No problem. I'm sure the Type 64 will find something else. Ooh, there's one. Okay. Now, one thing that I didn't get to say in the Tiger game, and one thing that I've been trying to say more to my friends that I've been playing with in this game is, it's a basketball phrase, I'm pretty sure. You miss every shot you don't take. Now, this game is a random number generated game. Right now, you can see this green line here. That's anywhere the bullet could fly. So, theoretically, I could hit the Su-8 right here. And we said that I did 400 damage, so I just one shot. It's a really small target. I'm actually hitting the little gun on the tank. So I'm going to wait as long as I reasonably can to bring this down so that it's more accurate of a shot. But I am not going to hesitate. Right? So I'm bringing it down, bringing it down. I'm worried the team's going to get the kill. Look at that. They hurt him. No, I want the kill. Give it to me. No, no. So I go ahead and shoot. Boom. We didn't do a lot of damage because the team was about to finish him off, but I wanted the kill. I wanted to get that 4th kill. So we were able to get that. We ended the game with almost 3,000 damage. Pretty darn good. We were actually running out of ammo. There's not meant to. That's one bummer with this specific tank. It doesn't carry a whole lot of ammo, and sometimes when I'm brawling, I find that I run out of. I get really close to running out. I haven't actually ran out in this tank yet, but you get kind of close. And I believe they're gonna clean off that KV2, and nothing really happens. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about heavy tanks. I think they're fun. They're a little slower, so it's hard to feel like you're affecting the battle as much unless the side that you picked really comes through for the team. Those games are really fun and really rewarding. But I tend to like the light and medium tanks because if I need to go and help this side of the team, I could have done it in my light tanks. But the heavy tank, I basically took all the time in the world just to get right here, right? So they're definitely fun. They're definitely influential. And I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about how using that hill really helped in that engagement, singling out opponents in both this game and the game with the Tiger 2. Thanks, guys, and have a great night.